and bilang future CPAs. Bilang maging future CPAs, so dapat ngayon pa lang kailangan i-master na natin yung auditing. So kahit sa operations auditing pa lang tayo, kailangan i-master na rin natin. So do you have any idea what is auditing? Do you have any idea what is auditing?
Sir, try lang po.
Sige,
Hello
sige,
po.
Angela.
Yung
Yes,
auditing
Angela.
po, yung mga auditors po yung nagche-check ng mga financial statement ng company po para makita yung yung kung productive po ba or ganun.
Alright, so tama yon. Auditors are the one who check the financial statements of the company to check kung fairly stated ba, kung tama ba yung ginawa na financial statement ng isang company. Bakit kaya chine-check ng auditors yung financial statement ng company? Do you have any idea bakit kailangang i-check ng auditor yung financial statement ng isang company? Any intelligent guess?
Tax purposes po.
For tax purposes, any other than that?
For ano
Any
po,
intelligent guess?
faithful representation.
Hello?
Yes. For faithful representation. So, tama rin yon. Any other than that from those two?
Para sa decision making, sir. Kasi diba nag-evaluate
For-
sila ng risk.
Yes, for decision making. So, lahat ng mga sinabi nyo, related yon doon kung bakit natin ino-audit or bakit ino-audit ni auditor yung financial statement. So, the main reason bakit ino-audit yung financial statement kasi we have stakeholders. May mga users ng financial information. So, itong mga users ng financial information, they don't have time to check kung totoo ba o hindi yung mga nakalagay doon sa financial statement. So, ang gagawin nila, they will assign or hire an external auditor or an independent auditor na mag-check or mag-evaluate kung tama ba or fairly presented yung financial statements. So, yun po yung purpose ng audit. Now, yung audit naman is very wide. Kasi ang audit is medyo malaki. Hindi lang siya nakafocus doon sa pag-audit ng financial statements. Pwede ka rin mag-audit ng compliance, pwede ka rin mag-audit ng operations, pwede ka rin mag-audit ng management. So maraming branches or maraming sub-audit fields. So isa na dito yung operational audit. So nagigets niyo po ba kung ano po yung, kung paano ko pinaliwanag yung audit?
Yes po, sir.
Alright, so let's try to discuss naman what is an operational auditing. So, operational auditing is a future-oriented, systematic, and independent evaluation of organizational activities. Bakit siya future-oriented? Any idea bakit kaya future-oriented ang operational auditing? Bakit hindi siya historical? Bakit sinabi daw future-oriented?
Sir, sabi po kanina ni Sarina. Hello po.
Sorry? Yes?
Gaya po ng sabi kanina ni Sarina po. Yung kaya is one reason po kaya nag-audit is for decision making po ng management po.
Alright,
Kaya po
so
naging future.
yes, future Kaya siya naging future-oriented. However, doon kasi yung sa kanina, naka-base naman yung audit na yon sa historical transaction. Ang chine-check kasi nila is financial statement. Pero partly, tama yung sinabi mo. Kasi operational auditing kasi, kaya siya naging future-oriented, ang tinitignan kasi natin doon is the operating policies. Yung operational policy. So, yung operational auditing is more on the audit of the operational policies. And the reason behind this, bakit siya future-oriented? Because we are checking the operational policies kung applicable pa ba siya sa mga susunod na panahon. Kung hindi na siya applicable, then it is the time na baka pwede nating i-amend yung operational policies. And aside from future-oriented, operational auditing is also a systematic. Bakit daw siya systematic? Any
May process.
may process. So tama, that is yung pinaka-tamang sagot kasi may process. Operational auditing has a process. Lahat ng klase ng audit merong process. Kaya siya tinawag na, define as a systematic evaluation of organizational activities. And through this process, meron tayong sinusunod na procedure. So, hindi tayo basta-basta nag-audit lang na gusto natin. And then, it is an independent evaluation. Bakit kaya siya independent evaluation naman?
Kasi sir, ano po, an auditor must not, wala ako.
Bakit siya naging independent evaluation?
Sir,
Yes.
Si Christian.
kasi po sir, lahat po ng ginagawa sa auditing sir, may sinusunod na rules, may sinusunod na regulations, policies at saka laws sir.
May sinusunod na rules, may sinusunod na policies. However, kaya naging independent ang evaluation ng mga auditor kasi hindi sila pwedeng magpa-influence sa mga tao na in-audit nila. Nagigets po ba yun? And can
Yes,
you hear how
sir.
So, kaya siya naging independent kasi bawal siya magpa-influence, bawal siya sakop, bawal siya magpatalo sa kung sino man yung kinakandak niya ng audit. For example, ikaw yung internal auditor ng isang company. Sabihin natin, anong bang magandang company? Nestle Philippines. So, do you ever think working in a multinational firm, multinational company like Nestle Philippines, ano pa ba, San Miguel Corporation. Sa San Miguel Corporation, every month meron kang isang sako ng bigas. Tapos wala ka nang poproblemahin sa isang sako ng bigas buwan-buwan. Tapos meron ka pang 13th month pay, 14th month pay, 15th month pay, 16th month pay, hanggang 24th month pay. So excited na ba magtrabaho?
Yes sir.
Yes, so excited na magtrabaho. So kailangan mag-aral muna tayo maigi. So bale 2 taon na lang naman third year na kayo. So let's say kayo yung internal auditor doon sa Nestle Corporation. And then yung i-audit nyo ay yung sales department, operations nung sales department. And then yung sa sales department, best friend mo yung sales manager. And then i-audit mo. Dahil best friend mo siya, anong sasabihin mo sa report? Okay ba yung operation ng sales o hindi? Halimbawa, nakita mo, hindi maganda yung sales, puro tamad lahat ng sa sales team. Hindi nagbebenta, hindi walang effort. Tapos, nung kinandak mo yung operating policies ng sales team, sales department, since yung sales manager, best friend mo, anong i-report mo? Maganda o hindi?
Hindi.
Hindi po.
Kaso magagalit yung best friend mo.
Dapat hindi
Independent evaluation po kasi dapat. So, dapat di sinasama ng emotion.
So, tama po yun. So, yun yung-
Integrity, sir.
yes, tama po yun. Integrity from the word of Ma'am VM, di ba? So, tama po yun. Pag sinabing independent, hindi ka pa pwedeng magpa-impluensya, hindi ka pa pwedeng magpatalo sa ibang tao. Kasi ikaw bilang auditor, independently, objectively, ino-audit mo yung isang process. Lalo na sa operations audit. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng definition ng operational auditing. So it is a future-oriented, systematic, and independent evaluation of organizational activities. Financial data may be used, but the primary sources of evidence are operational policies and achievements. Anong sabi daw? Financial data may be used. Pwede daw gamitin yung financial data. Bakit pwede? Bakit hindi siya yung gagamitin talaga? Dapat gamitin. I'm so sorry.
Siguro, sir, dahil future-oriented ang financial data kasi parang nangyari na siya sa isang taon. Hindi ko sure, sir. Pero yan yung pagkakaintindi ko.
Okay. So, kapag financial data kasi lumalabas, historical siya, nangyari na siya. So, hindi siya future-oriented. Pero di ba sa definition ng operational auditing, future-oriented daw siya. Kaya hindi natin main evidence or source of evidences yung financial data. Kasi historical siya. Eh di ba tayo future-oriented? So pag sinabing future-oriented, moving forward na tayo sa future, move on na. So hindi mo na kailangang mag-cling sa past. Siyempre kung masakit yung nasa past, hindi mo na kailangan mag-hold on to the past. So there are cases when financial data may be used, lalo na kapag sakop ng internal audit yung financial audit. Pero hindi yun normally yung main evidence natin na ginagamit. So, ang hinahanap natin yung operational policies and if we are really achieving the goals and objectives using this operational policies. Napanood niyo po ba yung first video na pinost ko po doon sa Facebook page natin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 'di ba? So anong sabi doon yung kung paano describe yung operational audit? Yung operational audit daw, they are evaluating the operating policies. They are evaluating the operating policies and comparing it with the desired policies. Ito, meron kayong operating policies, ito yung nag-exist, pero meron kayong desired policies. Kailangan magkalapit yon, pareho or almost pareho. Kasi kung medyo malayo, below par ng desired policies yung operating policies nyo, ibig sabihin may problema doon sa existing operational policies. Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
sir.
Alright. So, kindly wait for a moment. I'm just checking if I am recording this video. Wait lang po ah. Alright, so nire-record ko nga siya. So I will post this lecture series doon sa Facebook page natin so you can have a review para makita niyo rin yung mga sarili. Okay, so let's move on to next slide. Move to the next slide. All right. Internal audit is a broader audit field kung saan under yung operational audit. Nakikita niyo po ba? Yes, okay. So,
Yes po, sir.
yes, yung internal audit kasi is may sakop siyang iba-ibang klaseng audit. Like financial audit, management audit, and operational audit. Yung financial audit, ang pinaka-main focus niya is the audit of the financial statements. So ito yung alam natin before. Nung first year tayo, after magawa ang financial statement, 'di ba? Sabi nila, sabi ng ibang libro, the end of the accounting is the start of auditing. Kasi pagtapos mo na gawin yung financial statements, doon na mag-start yung pag-audit. Pero hindi lang doon nakafocus yung audit. Hindi lang siya financial statement audit. So meron pa tayong tinatawag na management audit. So ano naman yung management audit? Management audit is the audit of the management policies. Mas higher ito compared sa operational audit. Yung management audit kasi, it involves management policies, strategic policies for the company. Nakukuha po ba? While yung operational audit or operations audit, it focuses on the operational policies of the firm or of the company based on its day-to-day activities. So pag operational day-to-day, ito yung low-level management, while yung management policy, ito yung high-level management. Doon yung strategic planning, while yung operational, doon yung day-to-day. Nakukuha po ba? And what we are trying to understand this whole semester is about operations auditing. Nagigets po ba? Any question? Any question regarding this? Baka may naguguluhan. Ay sir, may nakita po ako yung sabi po nila ang management audit saka operations audit parang pareho lang daw. Ay sir, nabasa ko po sa libro ni Dr. Murdoch yung operations audit saka internal audit pareho lang daw. Any question? Meron po ba? So, maybe if you can ask, if you may, baka masagot natin. Kaya baka, sir, ayoko na ng operations audit. Gusto ko na ng applied audit na. I'm so bored. Any questions? None. So I'll move to the next slide. Okay. The bigger concept of audit. So in the next slide, this will help you understand how big audit universe is. So this is auditing. So auditing is a very broader universe kung saan meron tayong tinatawag na external audit, internal audit, and compliance audit. Sa external audit, ito yung alam natin, yung FS audit. Because the primary objective of external audit is the audit of the financial statements. Ito yung alam na alam natin. After gumawa ng financial statements, audit agad tayo ng financial statements. Ito yung gusto natin na pag nakagraduate na tayo, pag nakapasa na tayo ng board exam, magtatrabaho tayo sa big auditing firms, diba? Like SGV and Company, Isla Lipana, or Ernst & Young's, PricewaterhouseCoopers. So do you have any idea about these big auditing firms? Do you have any idea about these big auditing firms?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, ito yung normal na alam natin na once we pass the board exams, papasok tayo sa mga auditing firms, excited tayo mag-audit ng financial statements ng mga malalaking corporation, pero hindi natin alam na isang bahagi lang to ng auditing. Alright, so isang bahagi lang ng auditing yung external audit. We also have internal audit. Ito yung pinag-aaralan natin. However, maliit na bahagi lang siya ng internal audit. So, which is operations audit. Ang internal audit naman, meron diyang employer-employee relationship. Bakit kaya may employer-employee relationship? Kaya siya may employer-employee relationship kasi yung internal auditor is being hired by the company itself. Pero nagre-report siya directly. Saan siya nagre-report? Any guess, intelligent guess, kanino nagre-report ang internal auditors?
Sa management ng company po.
Sa audit committee.
Audit committee po.
Committee po.
Sa audit,
Audit
committee.
committee. Audit committee po ng board of directors.
Yun po. So tama po yun. That is the best answer. So audit committee nagre-report ang internal auditor. So let's say for example, meron tayong exam tapos may question. To whom is internal auditor reporting to? Letter A, board of directors. Letter B, to the management. Letter C, to those charged with governance. Letter D, President Duterte. So, anong sagot? Saan daw mag-report ang internal auditor? Letter A, to the board of directors. Letter B, to the management. Letter C, to those charged with governance. And letter D, to President Duterte.
A po, sir.
Letter
A.
A or B.
Po.
Board of directors.
Letter, the best answer is letter
A
A, board of
A.
directors. Nakuha po ba? Bakit kaya letter A? Kasi yung audit committee is a group of board of director. Nakuha po ba? Yung audit committee is a group of board of director. Pero walang nakasulat na sagot na audit committee. So ang magiging sagot natin is board of director. Nagigets po ba? And then, kung meron sa choices nakasulat, the audit committee. Letter A, board of directors. Letter B, management. Letter C, those charged with governance. Letter D, President Duterte. Letter E, the audit committee. So, ang sagot natin ay ang sagot po natin ay
E.
Audit committee.
letter E, audit committee. Kasi yun yung pinaka-best answer. Nakuha po ba? So pagdating sa audit, ang sinasagot natin yung best answer. Marami kasing pwedeng tamang sagot, pero hinahanap natin yung best. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba? So parang sa love lang yan.
Yes.
We're looking for the best. We're looking for the best. Lahat pwedeng okay. Pero we're looking for the best. So next slide. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Sorry. Nasa na ba tayo? Wala na ako. So let's go back again to internal audit. So FS audit in internal audit is not the primary objective of the internal audit. Ano yung primary objective ng internal audit? It focuses more on operations audit and management audit. Nakuha po ba? Kasi ang internal audit, kung magkakandak pa siya, yung magiging pinaka-objective niya is FS audit, wala nang silbi yung external auditor para mag-overlap sila ng trabaho. Trinabaho na ng internal auditor, tatrabahuhin pa ng external auditor. So parang nagsayang lang ng panahon. 'Di ba? Yung parang nag-e-effort ka tapos nasayang lang kasi may gumagawa na rin palang iba. Diba parang parang ramdam ko yung yung emotion niyo doon. So, yun yung focus ng internal audit. More on management audit and operations audit. Then also, we have compliance audit. So, compliance audit normally, it focuses on the compliance with the existing laws, rules, and regulations. So, normally, yung mga compliance auditor, ito yung mga compliance with the BIR rules, SEC rules, nakukuha po ba ninyo yun? With existing laws? For example, yung mga factories. Yung mga factories, 'di ba, nag-i-emit sila, naglalabas sila ng usok. So, dati, nung mga kapanahunan pa nung mga, nag-teacher niyo ba si Dean Arganda? Hindi siya naging teacher. Dati nung mga kapanahunan pa nila, kasi tayo mga bata pa tayo, yung nilalabas na usok ng mga factory is may itim. O po ba? So, nagiging polluted na yung hangin nung panahon na yon. And then, there came a time na nag-enact ng environmental laws ang Philippines kung saan ine-encourage na magkaroon ng filter yung mga factory para hindi na maitim yung nilalabas kundi kulay puti na lang na usok. And then bilang compliance auditor, you are checking, kung ikaw yung compliance auditor, you are checking if your company is in compliance with the existing environmental laws. At hindi lang doon nakafocus, syempre, you're also checking if they are compliance in terms of tax, in terms of SEC regulations. So yun yung compliance audit. So iintindihan na po ba what's the difference between external audit, internal audit, and then compliance audit?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir,
So, yes.
Curious lang po, saan po papasok dyan yung forensic audit?
Forensic?
Curious lang po, saan po dyan papasok sa tatlo?
Forensic audit. Well, forensic audit is a part of internal audit. It could be an internal audit. However, it's a high-level type of audit kung saan nakafocus ka on finding fraudulent activities or unusual activities in the company. So, normally, ang nagkakandak ng forensic audit dito sa Philippines, NBI. So, kaya yung mga accountants, mga CPAs, kapag pumasok kayo sa NBI, maganda na yung pwesto nyo sa NBI. So, gusto niyo rin ba pumasok sa NBI?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ayan. Kasi normally, kapag CPA ka, magaling ka sa investigation kasi nag-audit ka. Like for example, merong pinatay. Pero wala silang idea kung sino yung pumatay. Pero nakita dun sa katawan nung sa bulsa nung taong namatay, may resibo ng Jollibee. May nakitang resibo ng Jollibee. Anong branch? May Silo branch. Tapos, dahil doon sa resibo na yon, nakita kung anong oras bumili siya sa Jollibee. E di nakita, mga 3 o'clock ng hapon. Pumunta sila doon sa May Silo branch para i-check yung CCTV no Jollibee May Silo branch. And then nakita kung sino yung kasama nung namatay. So, Ganon. Isang example lang yun, maliit na example lang yun ng forensic auditing. So, ganun yung mga, more on investigative audit ang forensic audit.
Thank you po, sir.
Yes. All right. Pero high level na yan. So, let's go to the next slide. Key terms to consider in operational audit. So, meron tayo mga dapat i-consider in operational audit. So, first one is independence. So, an auditor must be independent. Ito yung pinaka-main core bilang isang auditor. Bakit kaya kailangan natin maging independent? Kanina pa natin ito pinag-uusapan, yung independence. Bakit kaya?
Para hindi maging bias.
Yes. So, ang pagiging independence para hindi ka ma-impluwensyahan ng mga tao sa paligid mo while conducting an audit, particularly the operational audit. So, yon. Kailangan i-maintain natin yung independence on our part. So, pangalawa, objectivity. Bakit naman kailangan natin yung objectivity? Bakit kailangan tayong maging objective?
To avoid personal interest po.
Pag sinabing objective, ano yung na iisip niyo?
Parang independence din, sir. Hindi
Parang
na influential.
So tama rin yun. Close siya. Actually, yung independence saka objectivity, magkasama palagi yan. Pag sinabing objective ka, hindi ka bias. Lagi, you're always fair. Ganun po yun, di ba? So, kaya sinabing objective kasi you're always fair. So, regardless of what is happening, stick ka lang doon sa policies and procedures ng audit. So, objective ka kahit yung masagasama mo, kaibigan mo, close friends mo, objective ka pa rin. Nagigets po ba?
Yes, sir.
Next one is assurance. What is assurance? Ano naman yung assurance? What is an assurance, class?
Sir, parang ano po, parang pag nag-audit ka po sa operational audit, kailangan confident ka tsaka na sa pagbibigay ng mga statement po na binibigay about sa organization.
So, tama yun. So, auditors, we give assurance. Maraming klase ng assurance tayong binibigay. It could be a high-level assurance, a reasonable assurance, moderate-level assurance, or low-level assurance. Depende sa kung anong klase ng ino-audit natin or kung ano yung audit na ginagawa natin. So, pag sinabing assurance, pag nag-audit ka, you usually give assurance to those giving you the authority to conduct audit. So, nagbibigay ka ng assurance in a way na tama ba yung policies, tama ba yung financial statements, or mali ba yung financial statements. So, yun yung assurance na binibigay mo. So, kung hindi maganda yung operating policies, you're providing recommendations after conducting the audit. So, yun yung assurance na binibigay mo bilang isang auditor. Fourth one is consultation and advice. Siyempre, while giving an assurance and may nakita kang mali doon sa operating policies or management policies mo, management policies or operating policies ng company, minsan humihingi ng advice or consultation yung board of directors sa iyo. And then, bilang isang auditor, you give advice to the audit committee or to the board of directors, ano yung magandang gawin. para hindi na maulit yung failure sa operations. So that is the time that you will recommend improvement doon sa sa operational policies. And then you're also internal auditors are also designed to add value to the audit activity. Kasi hindi ka lang basta-basta nagbibigay ng assurance, hindi ka lang basta-basta nagbibigay ng advice, but you give value, you add value to the audit that you are being conducted. Kasi doon dikit ang pangalan mo sa pagiging auditor. And then operational improvement. Of course, dahil sa operational audit, we are looking towards operational improvement. Kasi kapag nag-improve yung operation, gaganda yung takbo ng business, lalaki yung profit, lalaki yung income. So lahat, masaya. And then, help accomplish objectives. Systematic, disciplined approach. So, kasi di ba, this audit is a process, so it is a systematic and disciplined approach. And then, evaluate effectiveness. Siyempre, we usually evaluate effectiveness no company, no operating policies ng company. Any question regarding this slide? Any question regarding this slide?
None.
Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Traits required for auditors to conduct operational audit. So the following are the traits that is being required to become an auditor. So, syempre, kailangan mo, meron kang technical training and proficiency. So, bilang isang auditor, dapat technically trained ka and proficient to conduct audit. Hindi lang basta-basta pwedeng CPA board passer ka or accountant ka lang or CIA passer ka. Kailangan meron kang technical training and proficient enough to conduct audit. Kasi sa business, sa real world ng corporate business, hindi lahat ng tao mababae. Yung iba dyan, parang nangangain ng buhay. Kung magbabait-baitan ka, tapos yung ino-audit mo, ay masamang tao, maldita, suplado, ay kakainin ka ng buhay doon. So, kailangan ipakita mo, you're technically trained. Hindi ka papatalo sa kanila and you're proficient enough, alam mo yung ginagawa mo, para matakot mo din sila. Hindi man sila tinatakot, pero matatakot sila sa iyo sa pagiging professional mo. Nakukuha po ba? Kasi normally pag nagtatrabaho na kayo, pag tinanong mo yung mga tao doon, kaninong department nang galing ang pinakamasungit, ang pinakamasusungit na tao? Sabihin nila sa accounting, sa finance. Kasi we are technically trained and proficient enough para maging masungit. Because we are, we are technically trained para maging professional sa tingin ng iba. Second one is knowledge of IT risks and control. Knowledge of IT risk and control. So, anong meron sa knowledge of IT risk and control? Why do we need to become knowledgeable of IT risks and control? Do you have any idea, class? Any intelligent guess? Can you still hear me? Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. So, any idea about knowledge of IT risks and control
Sir, for cybersecurity.
for cybersecurity? Yes, that's correct. Any other aside from that? Any other aside from
Sir, modern na po.
kasi
Nagiging technological.
Modern advancement.
tama kasi we are living in a modern day world. So lahat gumagamit na ng phone, lahat nagko-computer, lahat nagta-tablet. So bilang auditor, bilang accountant, kailangan maka-adapt din tayo. Kailangan marunong din tayo gumamit noon. Hindi lang tayo hanggang typewriter. So dapat marunong din tayo sa information technology. And using information technology, meron dyang risks involved. So like yung sinabi kanina, cyber security. May iba pa nga, nagagamit yung personal data natin. For example, pupunta tayo, nag-Facebook tayo, tapos meron doong na-click na link. May na-click tayong link, tapos hindi natin alam, nagsisend na pala tayo ng mga messages sa iba't ibang friends natin. Tapos magugulat ka na lang may mga sinend ng messages. So bilang isang auditor at accountant, kailangan knowledgeable tayo pagdating sa information technology risks and ano yung mga controls na pwede nating gamitin just to avoid the IT risks. Any question on letter B? Any question? Any question? Class? No, none so far. Okay, so let's move to due care. So, yung due care, isa rin to sa magandang traits. Kailangan nating traits sa pagiging auditor. Why do we need to become, why do we need to possess professional due care? Or due professional care? Ano ba yung care?
So when you say joker po kasi, parang ano po siya, prudence. So meaning, we have to be cautious on what we are doing as an auditors.
So, yes, tama yun. Tama si Juan Carlos about due professional care. So, kailangan maging maingat tayo. Kailangan natin maging maingat from, while conducting an audit. Kailangan natin maging maingat. Hindi tayo basta-basta nag-audit tapos yun na lang basta-basta. Halimbawa, napadaan lang tayo sa sa operations department and then nakita nyo yung isang team ng operations, sinungitan kayo, and then sinabi nyo sa sarili nyo, ay humanda to, pag nag-audit ako, titirahin ko talaga to. So, hindi ganon. Siyempre, kailangan pag nag-audit ka, hindi pa pwedeng dahil masama loob mo, iisipin mo mali na yung ginagawa nung nasa isang department. So, kailangan maingat ka pa rin sa pag-conduct ng audit kasi you are giving assurance to the board of directors. Ayun yung gagamitin din nila for decision making. And then, we have traits. Kailangan maging alert din tayo to the significant risk. And then, professional skepticism. So, kailangan din natin maging professionally skeptic. Pag sinabing professionally skeptic, ano naman yun?
Sir. Sir.
Yes, Miguel. Andrew Miguel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When we say professional skepticism, we are giving we are giving doubt. We are giving doubt. We have a questioning. Yes, we have a questioning mind, and then we have a critical assessment, and we always assume that the management is always dishonest.
So tama yun. We are We have questioning of the mind. Meron tayo palaging doubt. So, di ba, independent na nga tayo. Independent, hindi tayo nagpapatalo, hindi tayo nagpapa-impluensya. Objective, hindi tayo bias. Due care, maingat. And then, professional, skepticism, mapagduda. So, ganun daw tayo. Pag auditor, kailangan maduda ka. Hindi ibig sabihin na may binigay sa iyo, maniniwala ka na agad doon. So, kailangan i-validate mo. Yun yung positive na pagdududa. Hindi yung yung pagdududa lang na alam natin pagdating sa love. So, pag sinabi yan, pag professionally skeptic, kailangan mapaghinala. You always have a question floating in your mind. Bakit kaya niya binigay ito agad? Ang bilis naman. Parang bilis naman agad binigay. Baka parang may mali dito. Ganon. So, parang iniisip mo palagi na parang may hindi tama. So, ganun yun. Nakuha po ba? Pero sa trabaho lang yun. Hindi nyo dapat dalhin sa buong pagkatao nyo yun. Baka mamaya, lahat na lang pagdududahan nyo. Pati sa bahay nyo. I-apply nyo yung pagiging auditor. Pati sa bahay nyo. Pag binigyan na kayo ng pagkain, ako baka may lason to. So, hindi nyo muna kakainin. So, kailangan sa trabaho lang yan. Hindi nyo dalhin sa bahay. Pwede naman dalhin sa bahay, basta positive yung traits na kunin niya. Letter F, risk assessment or risk management. Why do we need to manage risk? Why do we need to manage risk? We manage risk kasi kapag naging pervasive, medyo malaki na yung risk, yung effect ng risk sa company, hindi na makakasurvive yung company. So one good example is Nokia. Naabutan niyo ba yung Nokia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So nung maliliit pa tayo, may cellphone, what we called Nokia, di ba? So yung Nokia na yun, siya yung pinakasikat na cellphone noon. Halos lahat may Nokia. Pero as time goes by, nag-iba yung preference ng mga customers. Gusto nila, ayaw lang namin na may keypad. Gusto namin touchscreen. Gusto namin mas malaki yung screen, di ba? Hindi sila sumunod. Hindi sila sumabay. Kasi nung tumagal, di ba? Malaki yung screen. Naging touchscreen naman, di ba? Hindi pa rin sila sumabay. So ano nangyari? Napag-iwanan na sila. So na-expose sila sa greater effect ng technological risks. Kaya hindi na sila nakasabay. Ano nangyari kay Nokia? Nalugi siya. Sinong may kasalanan? Sa tingin niyo, sino kaya may kasalanan doon?
Management po.
Management, tama po yan. Kasi hindi tama yung decision na ginawa ng management. Sa tingin nyo, kung may internal auditor doon sa Nokia Corporation, tapos nag-conduct ng operations audit, management audit, hindi nila pinansin yung technological risk. May kasalanan din ba yung internal auditors?
Yes po.
Yes, may isa rin sila sa may kasalanan kasi hindi sila nagbigay ng magandang recommendation pagdating doon sa exposure ng Nokia Corporation sa risk. So, kailangan, bilang auditor, we have to manage risk. Letter G, control. So, ano naman yung control? These are the control measures that we use to safeguard the assets, to check if the operating activities are operating smoothly or within the established criteria. Evidential matter gathering. Siyempre, kapag nag-audit ka, you need to gather evidential information. Kailangan may ebidensya ka. Diba? Kaya nga, pag ang niloloko isang CPA o auditor, hindi talaga madaling maloko dahil may ebidensya. 'Di ba? Kapag yung babaeng CPA niloko ng isang lalaki, hindi maniniwala agad. Lagi may professional skepticism, questioning of the mind, mapagduda. Kasi bago pa sabihin ng lalaki, may evidential matter na siya. Meron na siyang ebidensya. Vina-validate lang niya kung tama yung sasabihin, 'di ba? Kaya mostly karamihan ng babae CPA eh. At karamihan pala sa CPAs puro babae. Documentation. Why do we need to document? Siyempre,
Dapat po,
yes, Teresa.
Right.
Jolina, or, so sorry.
ano po sir, dapat po dahil nga po nag-audit tayo, dapat po organize yung mga financial data para hindi um di maano yung pag-audit, hindi vague.
Correct, tama po yan. Kasi bilang auditor, we are following a systematic process and then gumagawa tayo ng workflow, di ba? Ng concept map. Gumagawa ba kayo ng concept map? Yes, kanino? Parang kilala ko yan. Kay Ma'am VM, di ba? And she's training you to become an auditor. Kaya kayo gumagawa ng concept map.
Tuwasan po.
Si Ma'am Tuwason din. O si Ma'am Tuwason, di ba? Minsan sa salita nakatalikod. Lagot kayo. Recorded ang pagtawa nyo. Ay, pero magaling si Ma'am Tuwason. I really love Ma'am Tuwason. Ma'am Herrero. Lagot kayo. Ay, magaling si Ma'am Tuwason. I love Ma'am Tuwason. Ma'am VM, Ma'am Beth, Salvador, Ma'am Herrero. Next slide.
Recorded.
Pero
edit na lang natin. Okay, so documentation. We need to document all the information we gather para yun yung magiging evidence natin and proof na nag-conduct tayo ng audit. And then, last one is planning consideration. Why do we need to plan when conducting an audit? Why do we need a plan to conduct an audit? Naranasan niyo na bang pumunta sa nagbakasyon, pumunta sa isang lugar, kayo magbabarkada, pumunta kayo sa beach, sa isang isla, or pumunta ng MOA?
Hanggang plan lang po, sir.
Hanggang plan. At least nag-conduct na kayo ng planning. So, merong planning consideration. So, sa planning consideration kasi, kaya we consider to plan while conducting an audit para malaman natin kung gaano katagal yung itatakbo ng audit. Kasi kung basta-basta na lang tayo mag-audit tapos hindi pala natin alam kung ano yung mga dapat nating gamiting method, anong tools, gaano katagal, magsasayang lang tayo ng cost. Baka po ba? Kasi syempre, mag-audit kayo sabihin natin, mag-audit kayo ng cash. Sinong pupuntahan nyo pag mag-audit kayo ng cash? Syempre, yung cashier, di ba? Pero kung mag-audit kayo ng cash, hindi nyo alam kung saan nakapwesto yung cashier. Magsasayang lang kayo ng oras, paikot-ikot kayo doon sa loob ng opisina. So, kailangan may proper planning. Nagigets po ba? Alright. So next slide, skills required for effective operational audit. So these are the skills required for effective operational audit. Communication skills. Siyempre, bilang auditor, dapat marunong tayo makipag-communicate sa lahat ng klase ng tao. From low level up to the high level management. Kasi yun yung kailangan natin. Iko-communicate natin yung mga nakuha natin, mga findings natin. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba? Yes. So, pangalawa, problem solving and solution skills. Siyempre, auditor kayo, kailangan nyo, meron kayong problem solving, analytical, and solution skills. Kung wala kayong ganyan, ay hindi kayo pwede maging auditor. Letter C, promote internal audit value. Because you are adding value to internal audit, so at the same time, you promote internal audit na mayroong value yung internal audit. D, knowledge skills. Why do we need to have a knowledge skills pag naging isang auditor? Why do we need to have knowledge skills pag auditor po tayo? Do you have any idea about knowledge skills? Sige, ako na sige pa, yes pa.
Para po hindi madaling maloko.
Yes, tama po yun. Kasi kapag, tama po yun. Kasi kapag nagkakanda kayo ng audit, dapat meron kayong knowledge about the industry. Kung ano yung ina-audit nyo na, ano ba yung processes doon sa operation, kailangan meron kayong knowledge, basic knowledge, or dapat na naiintindihan nyo kung paano ba yung process. Kasi kapag nag-audit kayo, tapos magtatanong kayo kung ano lang yung sinagot, i-accept nyo na lang. So, paano pala kung mali yung sinabi? Hindi nyo na maki-question, diba? Pero kung mayroon kayo idea about sa processes, sabihin sa inyo, diba? Kunyari, ang ino-audit nyo, yung operations team ng paggawaan ng piyaya. Imagine nyo, paggawaan ng piyaya. Tinanong nyo, paano gumawa ng piyaya? Ay, hopya lang yan, pinisat na hopya. Tapos naginang piyaya. Eh di kayo naman, kung hindi nyo alam yung skills, yung process, tama nga. Mukha nga siyang hopya na pinisat na ginang piyaya. Pero hindi yan gano'n. Siyempre kapag may idea kayo, parang hindi naman yata. Iba naman kasi yung lasa nung hopya. Iba rin yung lasa nung piyaya. Diba? So, hindi kayo basta-basta maniniwala. Kung meron kayong adequate knowledge about the process, about the industry. Organizational skills. Anong meron sa organizational skills?
Parang leadership skills din po.
Anong kailangan natin sa organizational skills? Why do we need to have organizational skills? Yung organizational skills, ito yung ability natin to talk to the whole organization. Iba-iba kasi ng level, di ba? So, iba-iba ng level ng organization, iba-iba yung approach na gagawin natin. So, kapag high level, syempre high level din yung way natin makipag-usap. Kapag low level, we can adjust. Naka po ba? Kasi normally, itong mga organizations na to, different parts of the organization, hindi sila normally nag-uusap lahat eh. Diba? Ang nag-uusap lang yung high level, yung kasunod niyang level. And then yung mid-level, kausap niya, low level. Nakuha po ba? So, hindi nag-uusap yung low level sa high level normally. So, kayo bilang auditor, lahat kaya nyo kausapin at kaya nyo mag-adjust. Nakuha po ba? And then we have behavioral skills. If you can see, nakakulay pula siya. Kasi hindi siya normally sinasama dyan sa skills required, although kailangan natin yung behavioral skills. Ano ba yung mga behavioral skills na dapat natin i-acquire? Ito yung independence, objectivity, leadership skills, professional due care. So yung mga skills na dapat nyong ma-acquire for behavioral skills. Next one is conflict resolution skills. Ano naman yung conflict resolution skills? Sinabing conflict resolution, dapat meron kayong ability to resolve any conflict within the team within your audit team or within an organization. Parang reconciliation. Marunong kayo mag-reconcile ng two conflicting parties. Nakuha po ba? And then staff training and development, of course, you have the ability to train your staffs, your team members, accounting skills. Ito, no doubt, alam nyo na to, accounting skills. Nasa dugo nyo na yan. Kahit natutulog kayo, pag ginising kayo, naalimpungatan, accounting is an art of recording, classifying, summarizing in a significant manner in terms of money transactions and events which are in part at least of financial characters and interpreting the results thereof. So pagkagising nyo, tinanong kayo kung ano yung accounting, alam na alam nyo. Nakuha nyo po ba? So accounting skills. And then change management skills. Ano naman yung change management skills? Any idea?
Pagiging flexible po, sir, ng isang auditor.
Pwede. Pagiging flexible ng isang auditor kasi kapag nagkaroon ng changes in the management, syempre lahat tayo mag-a-adjust, di ba? Dati very lax yung management, yung top management. Ngayon, nung sumunod na management, yung mga nakapwesto mahigpit, di ba? Bilang auditor, kayang-kaya nyo mag-adapt. Flexible kayo, mahigpit, okay lang. I'm an auditor, di ba? So, ganun. And then, IT, Information Technology and Communication Technology skills. So, napag-usapan na natin to kanina, di ba? So, kailangan aware tayo about the latest technology para hindi tayo mapag-iwanan. And then, cultural fluency skills. Siyempre, if you're working in a multinational firm, you talk to different nationalities. Kailangan alam mo kung ano yung culture nila. Nakuha po ba? And then, like for example, sa atin, sa Filipino, if we are agreeing, we are taking a nod, right? Diba? Umoo tayo. Kapag nag-agree tayo, umoo tayo. Tumatango tayo, diba? Pero pag sa Russia ka, kapag tumatango yung Russian sa'yo, ibig sabihin, hindi siya uma-agree sa'yo. So, dapat alam natin yon. Kung global internal auditor kayo, syempre kung nag-audit kayo sa Russia, tapos nakikita nyo tumatango, sabi, nag-a-agree to. Pero yung totoo, hindi talaga sila nag-a-agree. Baka mamaya, bugbugin ka na lang kasi nakikita nila, sinasabi na nga nila, hindi nga ako nag-a-agree. Tapos, ka ng dyan, di ba? So, next slide. So, for the next slide, these are the standards set by the Institute of Internal Auditors. Sabi ng Institute of Internal Auditors, dalawang klase daw ng standards, yung hinati nila sa dalawang klase ng standards. Attribute standards, saka performance standards. So under attribute standards, ito yung purpose, authority, responsibility. So pag sinabing purpose, authority, and responsibility, it lies with the Chief Executive Auditor, CEA, or the Audit Committee. So yun yung attribute standard. So the audit, the main responsible for the audit is the Audit Committee. Ano pa yung attribute standards ng pagiging auditor? Independence and objectivity. So, di ba, tulad na sinabi ko kanina, yung independence sa objectivity, lagi yan magkasama. So, dito sa attribute standards, magkasama sila, independence and objectivity. Pag sinabing independence, hindi ka nagpapa-impluensya. Pag sinabing objectivity, hindi ka bias. Nakuha po ba? And then, letter C, proficiency and due professional care. So, proficient ka na, and then, maingat ka pa. Letter D, quality assurance and improvement program. So, we are providing assurance because we are conducting an audit. And dapat yung assurance na yon must be a quality assurance. And we are recommending improvement on those policies. So, yun yung under ng attribute standards. Then, we also have performance standards. So, Ano yung mga nasa loob ng performance standards? We have managing internal audit activity. Bilang isang auditor, we are the one responsible for managing the internal audit activities. Is it within the time frame ng audit plan? Or is the operation operating effectively? So, check nyo kung yung internal audit activity naka-incline ba doon sa goals or ng policies ng company. Then, nature of work, engagement planning. Siyempre, kapag nag-audit tayo, meron tayong tinatawag na engagement planning. Before we conduct an audit, we are having a process called engagement. So, engagement planning yon. Engagement ang tawag doon sa bago mag-conduct ng audit. So, syempre sa engagement planning, doon na tayo nagpa-plan ng mga possible nating ika-conduct sa audit. Performing the engagement. Syempre, sa under performance standards, kailangan alam natin kung paano i-perform yung audit engagement na ginawa natin. Syempre, ito, hindi lang basta-basta nakafocus sa operations audit. Pwede rin siya sa management audit, pwede sa compliance audit, so applicable siya doon. And then, communicating results. Of course, after the audit, we conducted the audit, we need to communicate the results to kanina natin i-communicate yung results sa
Auditing committee.
Sa audit committee. Kapag wala dun sa question, wala sa sagot, ano yung dapat natin isagot?
Board of Directors.
Board of Directors. So, pa po ba? So, unang sagot natin, audit committee. Pag walang audit committee, board of directors. And then monitoring process. Diba isa yun sa traits. Isa yun sa traits. So, kailangan we document, we monitor. So, meron din tayong monitoring process. And then, last one, resolution on acceptance of risk. Siyempre, while conducting an audit, we communicate the results to the audit committee. And then, we are assessing the risk, di ba? Kapag na-assess natin yung risk, kailangan meron tayong acceptable level kung hanggang saang level lang ng risk yung pwede nating tanggapin. Kaya po ba? So, dinidiscuss na natin kanina pa yung risk. So, yung risk na yan, minsan hindi natin yung kayang alisin. Kasi may tinatawag tayong inherent risk. Pag sinabing inherent risk, these are risks originally existing from the very beginning. Tapos hindi mo na siya kayang alisin pa. Nag-i-exist na siya doon. Nakuha po ba? Ano ba yung mga bagay na hindi nyo kayang alisin? Hindi nyo kayang kalimutan? May mga ganun ba? So, kapag may mga bagay na hindi natin kayang alisin, inherent na yan. So, like yung risk na hindi na kayang alisin, inherent risk ang tawag po doon. Nakuha po ba? And then yung mga risk na kaya mong alisin, pababain, ang tawag naman doon, control risk. Nagigets po ba? Yung risk na hindi mo na kayang alisin, hindi mo kayang baguhin, inherent risk. Yung risk na kaya mong kontrolin, kaya mong pababain, control risk ang tawag. Nakukuha po ba? Any question regarding internal auditing standards? So we have two classification of standards. We have attribute standards and performance standards. So don't worry, I will upload this on our page para makikita niyo rin. So let's move on to the next slide. The risk-based audit. So what is risk-based audit? What is a risk-based audit? Do you have any idea about risk-based auditing? You have any idea about risk-based audit? Pag sinabing risk-based audit, ito yung latest methodology na ginagamit ng mga auditors ngayon. Diba, napanood niyo ba yung risk-based audit doon sa video na in-upload natin?
Yes po.
Pati yung yung video about sa Jurassic auditors.
Yes po.
Yes. Kasi yung mga Jurassic auditors or yung mga outdated auditors, hindi sila risk-based audit approach. While tayong mga bata, ang ginagamit natin is risk-based audit na. So ito yung modern method kung saan ina-assess natin yung risk as part of our audit. Kasi ito yung minimize natin or kung pwede, alisin. So naka-base na tayo sa risk while conducting audit. So paano natin kakonduct yung risk-based audit? Paano natin ika-conduct yung risk-based audit? Anyone from the class? Anyone? Anyone from the class about how to conduct risk-based audit? So pag risk-based audit, we need to identify first the objectives and operational consideration doon sa operations ng company. So paano natin makikita yung objective ng company, objectives ng company? So by looking on the operational policies. And through these operational policies, makikita natin doon yung mga possible risks na pwedeng nag-i-exist or nandoon or maka-affect sa ating as a business. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba? So, we need to identify the operational objectives. So, from there, we can see or we can identify what are those risks involved. So, sunod, pag na-identify na natin yung risks, we have to assess the risk. Gaano ba ka-pervasive yung risk na yon? Gaano ba kalala? Is it negligible? Is it negligible? Yung parang wala lang, yung risk na yan, is it negligible? Or is it low? Merong risk pero maliit lang yung damage? Is it moderate risk lang? May damage pa rin? Or is it severe? Malala yung damage sa company? Or is it a catastrophic risk? Sobrang lala no damage sa company. So, doon sa risk assessment, we can assess the risk na nakita natin doon while checking the operational objectives of the company or checking the operational policies. Gigets po ba ng lahat? Yes. And then after risk assessment, doon na tayo, itetest natin yung risk. So magkakonduct tayo ng risk response. Doon tayo nag-audit. So na-identify na natin yung risk, chinek natin, in-assess natin yung risk, mataas ba, mababa, sobrang lala. So i-check natin kung ano yung response sa risk. So risk response na yon. So doon na tayo nagkakonduct ng audit. So we are applying the audit approaches. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets ba? So una, identify natin yung operational objectives, makikita natin yung risk. Pag nakita na natin yung risk, we have to assess those risks. Kung gaano ba kalala or hindi malala. And then we have to test the risk. Ano yung response ng risk sa audit procedures na ginawa natin. And then, we have to gather evidence. Based on the risk we identified and based on the response we conducted or we gathered. Nakuha po ba? So, magkakonduct tayo, meron tayong evidence na kukunin. So, yun yung risk-based audit. Any question regarding the overview of risk-based auditing? Question? Any question? Okay, so for the next slide, we have types of operational risk. So we have types of operational risk. Una dito is capacity risk. Pag sinabing capacity risk, ano po kaya yung nakikita, ano po ba yung nakikita nyo idea about capacity risk? Do you have any idea about capacity risk?
Limitations ata.
Limitations about? Sige po.
Sa mismong operation, sir. Mismong operation na kinokonduct.
Mismong operation na kinakonduct. Pag sinabi natin capacity risk, ito yung mga risk related sa capacity no operations. Sa capacity ng operation. So, paano yung from the word capacity, di ba? May cost accounting na po tayo, di ba? Do we have cost accounting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes po. Yes po. Yes, Andrew?
Sir, we have a accounting.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Ano po yun?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
May klase po ba kayo after nito? Or hanggang anong time ba tayo? 4:30 tayo na.
Yes, po.
Sige. Alright, so capacity risk. Pag sinabing capacity risk, di ba, kung i-relate natin sa cost accounting nyo, tapos na po ba kayo sa cost accounting or are you still studying cost accounting?
Tapos na po.
Tapos na. So, meron tayo doon tinatawag na idle capacity, di ba? Pag sinabing idle capacity, ano yung idea na, ano yung naisip nyo pag idle capacity?
Mga walang ginagawa.
Diba? Tama. Kaya pa nila, pero wala silang ginagawa. Kaya pa ng capacity nila, pero wala silang ginagawa o kulang yung kanilang ginagawa. So yung idle capacity is also a capacity risk. So ano yung mga example ng capacity risk? Inability to produce as many units as required. Diba? Meron tayong required capacity or normal capacity, pero we can't produce that normal capacity. Yung difference nun sa actual capacity and then required or normal capacity, yun yung idle capacity. Nakukuha po ba? And that is a capacity risk. Ano pa? Ano pa yung mga capacity risk? Diba sa cost accounting, meron tayong ina-account na byproducts or waste products. So, di ba, napag-aralan niyo na po ba yon? Joint and byproducts? Yes. Normally, yung mga byproducts, hindi na nila nabebenta. Pag excessive yung byproducts or excessive yung waste, may problema tayo sa capacity risk. Ibig sabihin, karamihan sa pinoproduce natin napupunta lang sa pagiging basura, sa pagiging wala. Nakuha po ba? Nag-effort kayo, wala na rin naman pala. So, capacity risk. Nakukuha po ba? And then, ano pa po kaya? Ano pa yung capacity risk? One example, kapag sa delivery company kayo, si Shopee, si Lazada, may nag-order kay Shopee, saka kay Lazada, Ang sabi, after 3 days, maipapadala na, ilang linggo na yung nakakaraan, hindi pa rin naipapadala. May na-experience po ba kayong ganon?
Yes po.
Yes. So, isa yon sa capacity risk. So, nag-deliver siya pero past the delivery date. Lagpas na ng delivery date. So, capacity risk yon. So, next is strategic risk. Ano naman yung strategic risk? Do you have any idea about strategic risk?
Ito po yung risk na nag-a-arise po from unsuccessful decision po.
Yes, tama po yun. So, from unsuccessful decision. So, mga strategic decision. So, ano yung mga example nun? Failure to respond to the changing customers' preference. So, one example ulit, yung kay Nokia, di ba? Si Nokia, hindi siya nag-respond sa gusto ng mga customer ngayon, di ba? Puro touchscreen. Nag-stick lang sila doon sa keypad. Ngayon, napag-iwanan na sila hanggang hindi na sila tinatanggap ng mga customers. So, ano nangyari kay Nokia? Nalugi. So, strategic risk yon. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba? Ano pa kaya? Ano pa yung mga example ng strategic risk? Inability to keep sales growth. Inability to keep sales growth. Ano yung example? Nakikita niyo example na about doon sa strategic risk kung saan hindi nila na keep yung sales growth. Pataas na sana yung sales growth kaso dahil hindi nila kayang i-maintain yung sales growth dahil mali yung decision, biglang bumagsak yung sales growth.
Pag po hindi consistent yung quality na pinoproduce ng company. Like for example po, this month po, maayos po yung benta nila. Tapos, dumating po yung, dahil nga po sobrang taas po ng sales nila, na-overwhelm po sila. Ito, ang tendency po nun, parang sobrang overwhelm nila na ano po nila yung quality ng products. Kumbaga, more product na produce nila, nababawasan po yung quality.
Yes, tama rin yun. So, they focus more on quantity rather than quality of the product. So, may mga ibang company na gano'n, ina-apply pa rin yung economies of a large scale. So, normally sa China may mga gano'n. Diba? Yung mga China-made, kasi they are applying the principle na economies of a large scale kung saan kapag mas marami daw yung product, mas liliit yung fixed cost. Pag mas liliit yung fixed cost, mas lalaki yung net income, 'di ba? Kasi mai-spread yung fixed cost doon sa unit cost ng mga product. So, pinapadami nila yung quantity pero nade-degrade, nawawalan ng quality. And then syempre, yung customer kasi is focused on the quality rather than the quantity. Nakuha po ba? Ikaw, imaginein mo. Ano bang magandang example about sa quantity. For example, dito sa Philippines, we are a rice-eating country. So, kumakain tayo ng bigas and minsan kinukulang tayo ng bigas, yung buong Pilipinas. Kasi mas malaki yung demand ng Filipino kaysa sa napoproduce, di ba? Napapakita lang nun kung gaano katakaw ang Pilipino. Ngayon, syempre, we conduct research, we conduct study on how to produce rice in a short period of time. So, minsan, genetically modify nila yung rice, di ba? Kaya minsan yung ibang bigas kahit mura, pero parang hindi masyado masarap yung bigas, di ba? Hindi masyado masarap. Minsan kami nakain akong bigas parang parang malata, di ba? So, ganun lang yan about sa quality, no? Ano pa yung mga example ng strategic risk?
Sir, yung tungkol po sa marketing and promotion po ng isang business, papasok po ba siya sa strategic risk?
Yes, tama. Kasama rin po yun sa strategic risk. So, one good example about sa strategic risk pala is, kilala niyo si Uniwide. Naabutan niyo ba si Uniwide? Ay, hindi niyo naabutan. Oh, sorry. Hindi niyo pala naabutan. Si Pure Gold ang naabutan niya, no? Sa bagay, na pinanganak ako, mas nauna lang ako ng 1 taon sa inyo. Joke lang. So, nung time namin ni Sir Rowell, naabutan namin yung Uniwide. Yung Uniwide, siya yung Pure Gold noon. So, kung lumalabas siya yung Pure Gold noon, siya yung pinakasikat na parang shopping center aside from SM. And then, itong Uniwide na to, unti-unti siyang nawala sa market. Bakit kaya nawala si Uniwide sa market? Kasi mali yung ginawa nilang desisyon. Ang ginawa nila, yung pera nila sa Uniwide, ininvest nila sa real estate. So akala nila babalik agad yung pera nila pag ininvest nila sa real estate kasi nagbo-boom yung real estate nun eh. Yun pala, tumenga, natigil lahat ng pera nila sa real estate. Doon sa mga condominiums, sa mga pinatayo nilang mga condominiums, residential houses. So, ang nangyari, yung Uniwide, yung parang Pure Gold noon, nawala na, naubos yung kanilang operational cash. So, hanggang nagsarado na lang si Uniwide. So, wala nang Uniwide ngayon, although meron silang mga real properties, investments, mga condominiums kung saan binebenta pa rin nila. Marami silang kasabayan. May SMDC, may Robinson's Land, may MDC. So, marami pa silang kasabayan. So, mas mahihirapan sila lalo makuha yung pera na ininvest nila. So, yun yung example ng strategic risk. And then, we have compliance risk. Ano naman yung compliance risk? So, failure to meet laws, rules, standards, di ba? Setting compliance risk. And then, we have natural and environmental risk. So, ano naman yung natural and environmental risk? One example ng natural environmental risk, di ba? Pag nagbaha, di ba? Pag nagbaha, syempre, mahihirapan yung mga tao, yung mga employees pumasok. So, ma-hamper yung operation. Ano pa? Sa natural environmental risk, like this pandemic, di ba? Itong pandemic na to, dahil delikado yung COVID-19, so maraming hindi nakapasok sa trabaho, pinagbawalan ng government, pumunta sa work, puro work from home lang. Kaso, hindi naman pwede mag-work from home yung mga factory workers, di ba? Imagine niyo yung factory worker nag-work from home. Imagine niyo yung mga nagtatrabaho sa punerarya nag-work from home. So, hindi naman pwedeng mag-work from home yung iba. And kapag hindi ka nag-work, no pay. So, isa yon yung natural environmental risk na dapat i-consider under operational auditing. And then last is political risk. So, ano yung example ng mga political risk? Do you have any idea about political risk?
Sa wage level po, sir.
So sorry?
Sa wage level po na ano ng batas.
Alright. So, one good example for political risk, si Donald Trump, di ba? Si Donald Trump, ayaw niya ng mga Chinese companies sa Amerika. Kasi
Yes, sir.
galit siya sa Chinese, di ba? And one big Chinese company is TikTok, di ba? So, ayaw ni Trump na may nag-ooperate si TikTok sa Amerika. Malaki yung kita ni TikTok all over the world, di ba? At marami ring Americans gumagamit ng TikTok. Ngayon, dahil sa decision ni Trump, merong political risk na nakaka-affect ng operation ni TikTok sa USA. Nagigets po ba? And then another one is si President Duterte. Galit siya sa Facebook. Galit sa Facebook. And
Galit po sa
tayo yung social media capital all over the world. At kung ibaban yung Facebook, malaking kawalan yon sa Facebook corporation. So, pwede yon maging political risk na makaka-affect ng operational activities ng isang company like Facebook and TikTok. So, do you have any idea aside from these two? Meron po ba kayo nakikita pa?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any? Yes pa. Yes, Andrew. None so far?
For example, increase in tariffs and quotas, sir.
Yes, increase in tariffs and
sir, increase in tariffs and quotas, sir.
Yes, tama po yun. It could be a political risk. Like for example, ito naman kasi ang issue naman dito is about
quotas, sir.
European Union. Like for example, yung sa European Union, di ba? The European Union would like to impose tariffs and taxes sa Philippines. Kasi medyo madami daw yung extrajudicial killings. So ililift nila yung tax-free trade natin sa European Union. So maraming maapektuhan na businesses here in the Philippines. And what's the reason behind that? Wala namang nilabag ang mga businesses about rules ng European Union. Pero gusto i-lift ni European Union yung tax-free incentives natin. Kasi because of the political issues that our current administration is facing, tas ayaw din ng mga taga-ibang bansa. So, yun yung mga example. Like, one example is, yun nga, sa TikTok, sa Facebook, and then yung European Union. So, do you have any questions about types of operational risk? By the way, these risks, nakaka-apekto sila because directly sa tao, sa equipment, and then sa policies na meron tayo. So, while checking these risks, we also need to check if do we have enough people, do we have enough equipment, do our policies really inclined with the existing or the desired policies that we have. So, ganon. Yun yung sa operational risk. For the next slide, so the 3 lines of defense. So, ito is, we have the first line of defense and then second line of defense and then third line of defense. So, normally yung first line of defense, we have the management, control, and then internal control measures. Bakit kaya sila naging first line of defense? Yung management control, saka internal control issues. pagdating to sa operational audit or internal audit, bakit siya naging first line of defense? So, yung management control and then internal control measures, kaya sila naging first line of defense kasi ito yung primary controls that we are using on the day-to-day activities of the firm. And then, kung nakalusot dito, we also have second line of defense. Halimbawa, management control. Kung yung management merong sabuatan, may collusion, we also have second line of defense. So we have security, we have financial control, risk management, quality, inspection, and compliance. Kung hindi rin kung nakalusot pa rin yung fraud sa second line of defense, we have the third line of defense. So which is the internal audit. So napakaganda ng ganitong line of defenses, tatlo yung line of defenses para para mahirapan yung fraud or error na makaabot hanggang financial statement or hanggang hindi maging maganda yung activities ng firm. And then, audit evidences. So sa audit evidences, we have, for me, personally, I classify audit evidences based on the strongest evidence and then the weakest evidences. So, yung mga strongest evidences, ito yung mga evidences na nakuha nyo first-hand or from a third-party confirmation. So, we have document inspection. So, bakit siya naging strong evidence, ang document inspection? Kasi kayo yung directly bilang auditor nag-check. Nakuha po ba? And then observation, kasi kayo bilang auditor, kayo yung nag-observe. Kaya strong evidence yon. Inspection, syempre, dahil kayo yung auditor nag-inspect, strong evidence yon. Inquiry. So, inquiry from third party, that is also a strong evidence. We also have moderate evidences like recalculation or reperformance. So yung recalculation and reperformance, bakit siya naging moderate evidence lang? Kasi you are just validating kung tama yung pagkaka-calculate or pagkaka-add, pagkaka-minus. And then, we also have working papers. So yung working papers, ito yung mga sanay na kayo dito kasi you have a worksheet, you prepare worksheet, working papers no, financial accounting nyo, advanced accounting. We also have flow charts, internal control questionnaires. And then for the weak evidences, ito yung mga testimonials ng employees. Bakit kaya weak evidence yung testimonial ng employees? Because we are not sure kung yung testimony ba nung employee ay totoo. Papo ba? Kaya siya kino-consider as weak evidence. And then inquiry from employees. So, nag-inquire tayo, ang tinanong natin, yung employee mismo na in-audit natin. So, weak evidence yun. Papo ba? Kasi malay ba natin kung nagsasabi ba siya ng totoo or hindi. And then, the 7 E's. So, the 7 E's, so these are the 7 E's na kapag na-achieve natin, we also achieve success of the company. So, effectiveness. So, do you have any idea about effectiveness? Pag sinabing effective, that means to say na na-achieve natin yung goals and objectives ng firm, ng company. So, the operating goals or achievements no company. So effectiveness. Efficiency. Ano may efficiency? Sana naman yung efficiency. Sorry. What's efficiency, class? Efficiency relates to the use of inputs and other resources toward the achievement of goals and objectives in some form of productive activity. So, efficiency relates to time. So, kapag shorter the time, the more productive the company is. Yun yung efficiency. While economy, um, pag sinabing economy, this relates to the price paid for the organizational resources. So if we, the key here is when we buy based on a value, not merely the price, ibig sabihin, economical yung value nung product na na-purchase natin, or parang pag sinabing economy or economical, we are getting more of the value rather than the price being paid. So mas okay yung value niya, yung economic value niya kaysa sa price. And then excellence. So what is excellence? So what is excellence naman? Pag sinabing excellence, if the company's operations is performing of high quality, then we achieve the excellence as one of the 7 E's. And then ethics, what is ethics? Kailangan aware kayo dito. So what is ethics?
Sir, mga norms at saka policies ng company.
Norms and policies of the company. So we must be inclined with the ethical principles based on the norms and policies of the company. So ano daw yung mga guiding principles in terms of ethics? So ano ba yung mga legal and moral obligations natin, 'di ba? So about the rights and duties, what are those guidance in terms of fairness, equity, and impartiality? And what is the greatest good for the greatest number? So kung ano ba yung mas makakabuti sa mas nakakarami, so parang yun yung ethics, di ba? Ganun yun. So normally yung norms and moral practices, di ba? It is for the greater common good. Wala naman tayong policies na ikaka-harm ng nakakarami, di ba? And about sa care, kung yung gagawin ba natin, it will affect the relationship with other employees. Or kung yung value o yung gagawin ba nating action, it will affect the character of the company. Nakukuha po ba? And yung greatest rule in ethics, kung ano yung gagawin mo sa iba, yun yung in-expect mo na gagawin din sa'yo. Siyempre, kung ayaw mong gawin sa'yo, wag mo din gawin sa iba. So that is the golden rule. So, class, we are now done with chapters 1 to 4. And thank you for listening and having your time about this subject. I would like you, if you have time, I would like you to answer the questions. The questions from chapters 1 to 2 by Dr. Murdoch. Let me just check questions. Only the questions. Only the questions. So at the end of the chapter, there are questions. So from chapters 1 to 4, please try to answer those questions. And maybe next Saturday, we're going to discuss those questions bago tayo mag-start naman sa next chapters. Do you have any question regarding chapters 1 to 4? Do you have any questions, class? Okay, so let me just check one example of the questions based on chapter 1. Chapter 1. Chapter. Okay, so sa chapter 1, there are 10 questions. If you can answer it, please answer it. Lahat po ba tayo merong laptop or any working devices? Do we have working devices at home? Can we access Word? Okay lang po ba? Pwede niyo akong i-chat personally if you don't have. What I would like you to do is try to answer those questions, end of chapter questions. I would like to assess your summative assessment. At the end of each chapter, so normally ang ating magiging exams, like for example, prelim, midterm, and finals, I don't want you to have what do you call this? More on multiple choice. Ayoko ng multiple choice. Gusto ko situational cases. So I wanna test your knowledge in terms of operational auditing, and of course walang mali doon, 'di ba? Wala namang mali. So gusto ko lang malaman kung gaano kalalim yung naintindihan nyo sa auditing, kasi yung multiple choice identification, it's not applicable as of these days kasi pandemic and hindi tayo nagkakaharap-harap. So gusto ko lang malaman yung kung gaano kalalim nyo na yung napag-aralan nyo sa operations auditing, and maybe baka ganun din si Ma'am VM, and malay nyo baka pare-pareho kami nung format nung exams. And ang gusto ko lang yun, end of the chapters, pwedeng pasagot po ako, and maybe I can send a link where you can upload those files, or pag-usapan na lang rin natin. Pero pwede namang magsagot kayo sa paper, then you can send a picture of it, then send it to my messenger. So pag-usapan natin after this class. But do you still have any questions? Any more questions about our current topic? None so far. So do you have class after this? Wala na. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learned a lot kahit merong kalokohan. Mas okay sana kung face to face. However, it's not applicable as of the moment, and thank you so much. Yun lang. Okay, class. Goodbye. See you next week.
Bye, sir.
Thank you din po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Bye-bye.
Bye po.